Hey everyone! Before we dive into what might be the most important video you'll ever watch, I need to ask you something real quick. What time is it where you are right now? And where are you watching this from? Drop it in the comments because there's actually a reason I'm asking this, and it has everything to do with what we're about to uncover together. You see, the very moment you're experiencing right now, this exact second, might not be as real as you think it is. And that's exactly what they're counting on, but we'll get to that in just a moment. You've probably heard people talk about The Matrix, right? Most think it's just a cool movie from the early 2000s, some sci-fi fantasy about people trapped in a computer simulation. But what if I told you that the Wachowskis didn't just create a story, they revealed a truth that's been hidden for thousands of years? What if I told you that right now, in this very moment, you're living inside a construct so sophisticated, so deeply embedded into your consciousness, that you've been programmed to defend it, to fight for it, to never question it? And here's the thing that's going to blow your mind. The Matrix isn't some futuristic computer program. It's not machines plugging cables into the back of your skull. No. It's something far more insidious, far more clever, and it's been operating since the day you were born. Actually, scratch that, it's been operating since before you were born. Because the trap isn't just in this lifetime, it's in the very cycle itself. Let me take you back for a second, back to when you were a child, maybe 4 or 5 years old. Do you remember that feeling? That sense of wonder? That feeling that the world was absolutely magical, that anything was possible, that you could be an astronaut, a wizard, a superhero, whatever you wanted. You had this incredible imagination, this connection to something bigger, something infinite. You'd stare at clouds and see entire worlds. You'd talk to invisible friends. You'd know things without knowing how you knew them. You were connected, truly connected to Source, to the universe, to the cosmic consciousness that flows through all things. But then something happened, didn't it? Slowly, gradually, systematically. That connection was severed. They told you to grow up, to stop daydreaming, to focus on what's real. They put you in a box, literally, a classroom, rows of desks, everyone facing forward. Sit still, don't question, memorize this, regurgitate that, follow the rules, color inside the lines, and if you didn't, you were labeled, diagnosed, medicated. They called it education, but what it really was indoctrination. It was the first layer of the Matrix, the foundation upon which your entire prison would be built. But here's the secret they don't want you to know. The Matrix isn't just one thing. Oh no, it's a multi-layered, multi-dimensional construct designed to keep you trapped in a very specific frequency, a very specific state of consciousness. And the trick, the one trick they use to keep you locked in, it's so simple, so obvious, that once you see it, you'll wonder how you ever missed it. The trick is this: they keep you busy, they keep you distracted, they keep you focused on survival, on paying bills, on getting ahead, on comparing yourself to others, on consuming. They keep you in a perpetual state of stress, anxiety, fear, and desire. Because when you're in that state, when you're operating from your lower chakras, from your base survival instincts, you can't access the higher dimensional frequencies where true reality exists. You can't see the bars of your cage because you're too busy running on the hamster wheel they've designed for you. Think about your daily life for a moment. Really think about it. You wake up, probably to an alarm, already starting your day in a state of stress. Your nervous system immediately activated, fight or flight mode engaged. You check your phone, scroll through social media, flooding your consciousness with everyone else's curated realities, comparing your life to their highlight reels, feeling inadequate, feeling behind, feeling like you're not enough. Then you rush to get ready, rush to work, sit in traffic or on a crowded train, surrounded by other stressed, disconnected souls. All of you marching like automatons toward your respective prisons. Offices. You spend 8, 10, 12 hours doing work that probably doesn't fulfill your soul. Work that exists primarily to make someone else wealthy while you get just enough to survive, just enough to keep you coming back. Then you come home, exhausted, depleted, and what do? You collapse in front of a screen, TV, Netflix, YouTube, whatever, numbing yourself, distracting yourself, feeding your consciousness more programming. Maybe you have a drink, or 2, or 3, anything to take the edge off, to quiet the voice inside that keeps whispering that something is wrong, that this isn't what life is supposed to be. And then you go to bed, maybe scroll your phone some more, flood your pineal gland with blue light, suppressing your melatonin production, disrupting your natural circadian rhythms, and you drift off into unconscious sleep, only to wake up the next morning and do it all over again. This is the loop, this is the cycle, this is the matrix. And here's what makes it so brilliant, so diabolical. You choose it every single day. You wake up and you choose to plug yourself back in, because they've convinced you that you have no other choice. They've convinced you that this is just how life is, that you have to work, you have to pay bills, you have to fit in, you have to follow the rules, you have to be normal. And the moment you start to question it, the moment you start to wake up, they have systems in place to pull you back in. Your family tells you to be realistic. Your friends call you crazy. Society labels you as lazy or entitled or delusional. And the pressure to conform, to get back in line, becomes almost unbearable. But let's go deeper, because the matrix I'm describing, the societal construct, that's just the outer layer. That's just the surface. The real matrix, the one that's truly keeping you trapped, exists at a much more fundamental level. It exists in your consciousness itself, in the very way you perceive reality. You see, you've been taught that you are your body, that you are this physical form, this collection of atoms and molecules, born on a certain date, destined to die on another, and that everything you are, everything you'll ever be, exists within the confines of this meat suit. But that's the lie. That's the ultimate deception, because you are not your body. You are not even your mind. You are an eternal, infinite, multidimensional consciousness having a temporary physical experience. You are a spark of the divine, a fragment of source experiencing itself subjectively, and your true nature is absolutely limitless. The ancient mystery schools knew this. The Egyptians, the Greeks, the Tibetans, the Mayans, cultures all across the world understood that physical reality is just one layer of existence, one frequency band in an infinite spectrum. They taught that we exist simultaneously across multiple dimensions, multiple timelines, multiple realities, and that what we call death is simply a transition from one state of consciousness to another. But this knowledge, this truth, has been systematically suppressed, hidden, distorted, because if you knew your true nature, if you remembered who you really are, you would be absolutely ungovernable. You couldn't be controlled, you couldn't be manipulated, you couldn't be kept in the matrix. So they created amnesia, they created the veil, the barrier between your waking consciousness and your higher self, between your limited human awareness and your infinite cosmic awareness. And they maintain this veil through a very specific mechanism, through frequency. Everything in the universe's frequency is vibration. Quantum physics has proven this. Matter itself is just energy vibrating at different frequencies. And consciousness, your consciousness, is also frequency. When you're vibrating at a lower frequency, fear, anger, shame, guilt, you're locked into the denser dimensions, into the matrix, into the illusion of separation. But when you raise your frequency, love, joy, gratitude, peace, you begin to access higher dimensional awareness. You begin to see through the veil. You begin to remember. And this is where it gets really interesting, because the systems that run this world, the powers that be, they know this. They've always known this. That's why they work so hard to keep humanity vibrating LOW. Think about it. Look at the world around you. Look at what dominates the news, the media, the entertainment industry. Violence, fear, division, conflict, us versus them, black versus white, left versus right, vaxxed versus unvaxxed. It's constant, it's relentless, and it's intentional. They're feeding your consciousness a steady diet of low-frequency information designed to keep you in a state of fear and separation. Because when you're afraid, when you feel separate, when you see others as enemies rather than as reflections of yourself, you can't access the higher frequencies, you can't escape the matrix. The food they've engineered keeps you low, processed garbage, filled with chemicals, additives, artificial everything, disconnecting you from the natural world, from the earth, from real nourishment. The water is fluoridated, calcifying your pineal gland, your third eye, the antenna that connects you to higher dimensions. The air is polluted, filled with toxins, heavy metals, making you sick, keeping you weak, keeping you dependent on their pharmaceutical matrix, their medical system that treats symptoms but never addresses root causes. And don't even get me started on the electromagnetic smog, the Wi-Fi, the 5G, the constant bombardment of artificial frequencies that interfere with your body's natural electromagnetic field, disrupting your biorhythm, scrambling your energy field, making it harder and harder to maintain a clear connection to source. But here's what you need to understand, and this is crucial. The Matrix only has power over you if you give it power. It only works if you believe in it, if you accept it as the ultimate reality. The moment you start to question it, the moment you start to wake up, to remember, to reclaim your sovereignty, the whole thing starts to crumble. And that's what's happening right now, all across the planet. People are waking up. They're seeing through the lies. They're recognizing the manipulation. They're refusing to play the game anymore. And the powers that be are terrified. You can see it in how desperate they've become, how hard they're working to maintain control, to censor information, to shut down dissent, to keep everyone afraid and divided. So how do you escape? How do you actually get out of the Matrix? Well, first, you have to understand that it's not a physical escape. You're not going to wake up in some pod somewhere. You're not going to physically leave this reality. The escape happens in consciousness. It happens in awareness. It happens in frequency. You escape by waking up while you're still in the Matrix, by seeing it for what it is while you're still navigating it, by existing in the world, but not of the world. As the ancient teachings say, you become what the Buddhists call awakened, what the Hindus call enlightened, what the Gnostics call pneumatic. You achieve gnosis, direct experiential knowledge of your true nature. The first step is awareness. You have to see the Matrix. You have to recognize the programming, the conditioning, the beliefs that aren't actually yours but were installed in you by family, society, culture, religion, education. Start questioning everything. Why do you believe what you believe? Who benefits from you believing it? What would change if you believed something different? Most of your beliefs aren't based on your direct experience. They're based on what you've been told. And most of what you've been told is designed to keep you small, to keep you scared, to keep you in the box. The second step is reclamation. You have to start taking back your power, your energy, your attention, your consciousness. Stop giving it away to systems that don't serve you. Every time you mindlessly scroll social media, you're giving them your energy. Every time you watch the fear-porn news, you're giving them your energy. Every time you engage in drama, gossip, complaint, judgment, you're giving away your power. Start being intentional with where you place your attention, because attention is the currency of consciousness. What you focus on expands. What you give energy to grows. So start focusing on what you want to create, not on what you're afraid of, not on what's wrong, but on what's possible. The third step is elevation. You have to raise your frequency. You have to start vibrating at the level of the reality you want to experience. And this isn't some woo-woo nonsense. This is quantum physics. This is how the universe works. You are a living, breathing transmitter and receiver of frequency, and you attract experiences, people, and circumstances that match your dominant vibration. So how do you raise your frequency? It's actually simpler than you think. Gratitude. Finding things to appreciate every single day, even small things, because gratitude is one of the highest frequencies there is. Love. Not romantic love necessarily, but universal love, compassion, seeing the divine in all beings, in all things. Joy. Doing things that light you up, that make your soul sing, that remind you that life is meant to be enjoyed, not just endured. Nature. Getting outside, touching the earth, grounding yourself, remembering that you're part of this beautiful planet, not separate from it. Creativity. Expressing yourself, creating something, anything, because creation is the language of source. And when you create, you align with the creative force of the universe itself. The fourth step is inner work, and this is where most people get stuck, because this is the hard part. This is the part that requires you to face your shadow, to look at the parts of yourself you've been avoiding, denying, suppressing. The Matrix loves your unhealed trauma, your unprocessed emotions, your unconscious patterns, because those are the hooks it uses to control you. Every unhealed wound is a vulnerability, a backdoor through which the Matrix can manipulate you. So you have to go in, you have to do the healing work, the shadow integration. You have to bring light to the darkness within you. This might mean therapy, meditation, plant medicine, energy work, whatever resonates with you. But the point is, you have to be willing to feel, to process, to release the pain, the fear, the shame, the guilt that you've been carrying, sometimes for lifetimes. The fifth step is sovereignty. You have to stop looking outside yourself for answers, for validation, for permission. The Matrix trains you to be dependent, to need external authority to tell you what to think, what to believe, what to do. But true freedom comes from recognizing that you are the authority in your life, that the answers you seek are already within you, that you have direct access to source, to the divine intelligence of the universe. You don't need a guru, a priest, a politician, a doctor to tell you what's true for you. Because, deep down, in that quiet space within, start trusting your intuition, your inner guidance, that still small voice that whispers truth to you. It's been there all along. You've just been trained to ignore it, to override it with logic, with rationality, with what others think you should do. The sixth step is embodiment. And this is crucial. You can't just intellectually understand these concepts. You have to live them. You have to embody them. You have to make them part of your daily practice, your daily reality. Knowledge without application is just mental masturbation. It's spiritual bypassing. It's staying safe in the theory without taking the risk of actual transformation. So you have to practice every single day. You have to meditate. You have to breathe consciously. You have to move your body. You have to speak your truth. You have to set boundaries. You have to say no to what doesn't serve you and yes to what does. You have to show up as your authentic self, even when it's uncomfortable, even when it's scary, even when others don't understand. The seventh step is connection, but not the superficial connection the Matrix offers, not the social media likes and comments and followers. Real connection, soul-to-soul connection, with yourself, with Source, with other awakened beings who are on this journey with you. You see, the Matrix wants you to feel isolated, wants you to think you're alone, that you're the only one who questions things, who sees through the illusion. But you're not alone. There's an entire army of light workers, way showers, truth seekers, consciousness pioneers who are waking up all over the planet. Find your tribe, connect with them, support each other, because this journey can be lonely sometimes, and having others who see you, who get you, who reflect back to you the truth of who you are, that's invaluable. Now, let me tell you about something that most people don't realize, something that's absolutely key to understanding how the Matrix keeps you trapped. It's the concept of LOSH, a term coined by researcher Robert Monroe, and it refers to emotional energy, particularly the energy generated by negative emotions like fear, pain, suffering, anger, grief. According to Monroe and many ancient esoteric teachings, there are entities, beings, forces that feed on this energy, that actually harvest it from humanity, and the entire matrix system is designed to generate as much lush as possible. War, disease, poverty, injustice, trauma. These aren't just unfortunate side effects of human society. They're features. They're intentionally maintained because they generate massive amounts of emotional energy that these entities consume. This might sound crazy, I know, but it's actually referenced in ancient texts across multiple cultures. The Gnostics called these entities archons, parasitic forces that feed on human suffering and work to keep humanity trapped in ignorance. The Tibetans have similar teachings about hungry ghosts and negative entities that attach to human energy fields. Even modern psychology recognizes that trauma can create what they call complexes or subpersonalities that seem to operate independently, feeding on our energy, keeping us stuck in patterns. Whether you view these as literal entities or as metaphorical representations of unconscious forces doesn't really matter. The effect is the same. There are forces, both external and internal, that benefit from your suffering, from your unconscious, from your sleep. And this is why awakening is so important, because the moment you wake up, the moment you start vibrating at a higher frequency, you literally become inedible to these forces. They can't feed on you anymore. You're no longer generating the low-frequency emotional energy they need. It's like you've changed your radio station. You're broadcasting on a different channel, and they can't access you there. And the more people who wake up, who raise their frequency, who reclaim their sovereignty, the weaker the matrix becomes, the less power these forces have. There's another layer to this that's absolutely fascinating, and it has to do with reincarnation and the soul trap. Many researchers and experiencers have talked about what happens after death, about the tunnel of light that people report seeing during near-death experiences, and there's evidence to suggest that this tunnel might actually be a trap, a recycling mechanism that wipes your memory and sends you back into another incarnation, another lifetime of suffering and lush generation. The ancient Gnostics warned about this. They said that the soul has to navigate past the archons after death, has to avoid being tricked into reincarnating. And the way to do this is through gnosis, through remembering who you truly are, through maintaining consciousness even through the death transition. Now, I'm not saying don't go into the light. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm simply presenting information that's been hidden, suppressed, distorted. What you do with it is your choice. That's the whole point. Sovereignty means you get to decide, but you can't make an informed choice if you don't have information, if you don't know there are choices. The Matrix works by limiting your perceived options, by making you think there's only one way. But there are infinite possibilities, infinite timelines, infinite realities, and you have the power to choose which one you want to experience. So let's talk about practical steps, real tangible things you can do right now to start breaking free from the Matrix. First, detox. And I mean that on every level: physical, mental, emotional, spiritual. Start cleaning up your diet. Eat real food, organic when possible, avoid processed garbage, drink clean water. Get the fluoride out of your system. Support your pineal gland with supplements like iodine, spirulina, chlorella. Clear out toxic relationships, toxic environments, toxic media, toxic thoughts. Do a regular practice of clearing your energy field, whether that's through smudging, salt baths, visualization, whatever works for you. Second, meditate. And I cannot stress this enough. Meditation is the tool for breaking free from the matrix, because meditation is literally the practice of separating your awareness from the mind, from the thoughts, from the programming. When you meditate, you realize that you are not your thoughts, that there's a you behind the thoughts, watching them. And that is who you really are. That's your true consciousness. Start with just 5 minutes a day. Sit in silence, focus on your breath. And every time your mind wanders, gently bring it back. You're training your attention. You're taking back control of your own consciousness. And that's the first step to freedom. Third, question everything. Become a conscious skeptic. Don't believe something just because an authority figure said it. Don't accept something just because everyone else does. Don't assume something is true just because it's always been that way. Ask why. Ask who benefits. Ask what if the opposite is true. Start researching. Start learning. Start exposing yourself to alternative perspectives. Not to replace one dogma with another, but to expand your awareness. To see that reality is much more complex, much more mysterious, much more magical than the narrow slice the Matrix wants you to see. Fourth, create. Do something creative every single day. Write, draw, paint, dance, sing, cook, garden. Build something, anything. Because creation is the antidote to consumption. And the Matrix is designed to keep you consuming information, consuming products, consuming entertainment, always taking in, never expressing out. But when you create, you tap into the same force that created the universe. You align with Source, and you remember that you're not just a passive receiver. You're an active co-creator of reality. Fifth, connect with nature. Get outside, touch the earth, walk barefoot on the grass, hug a tree, swim in the ocean, sit in the sun, sleep under the stars. Nature is the antidote to the artificial matrix. Nature operates on natural rhythms, natural frequencies, and when you immerse yourself in nature, your own system begins to recalibrate, to remember its natural state. The matrix wants you indoors, under artificial lights, breathing recycled air, staring at screens, because that disconnects you from the earth, from the natural intelligence that flows through all living things. Sixth, practice presence. Be here, be now, because the matrix keeps you trapped in time, always thinking about the past, reliving old trauma, or worrying about the future, projecting fears and anxieties. But the past is gone. It only exists as memory, and the future hasn't happened yet. It only exists as imagination. The only moment that's actually real is this one, right now, and when you're fully present, fully here. The Matrix loses its grip on you, because the Matrix is a mental construct, and presence takes you out of the mind and into pure being. Seventh, take your power back. Stop giving your power away to external systems. Stop waiting for someone to save you. Stop looking for permission. Stop apologizing for taking up space. You are a sovereign being, a divine spark of consciousness, and you have every right to be here, to express yourself, to live your truth, to pursue your purpose. The Matrix wants you to feel small, powerless, dependent. But that's a lie. You are so much more powerful than you've been led to believe. You literally have the power to create and destroy worlds with your consciousness. You just have to remember. Here's something else that's crucial to understand. The Matrix doesn't just exist out there, it also exists here, in your own mind, in your own consciousness. You've internalized the Matrix, you've become your own jailer. You police yourself, you limit yourself, you talk yourself out of dreams and possibilities. You maintain the prison even when the guards aren't watching. This is the most insidious aspect of the control system. It's gotten you to do the work of controlling yourself. So it doesn't have to. But this also means that you have the key. You have the power to unlock your own cell. Because if you're the one keeping yourself trapped, then you're also the one who can set yourself free. The ancient mystery schools taught something called the Hermetic Principles, 7 universal laws that govern reality. And understanding these principles is like having a cheat code for the Matrix. The first principle is mentalism. The universe is mental, all is mind. Reality is a mental construct, which means that by changing your mind, by changing your consciousness, you can literally change your reality. The second is correspondence. As above, so below. As within, so without. What's happening in your inner world is reflected in your outer world, which means that to change your external circumstances, you have to change your internal state. The third is vibration. Everything vibrates, nothing rests, and by changing your vibration, you can shift to different frequencies of reality, different timelines, different possibilities. The fourth principle is polarity. Everything has 2 poles, 2 extremes, but they're actually the same thing, just at different degrees. Hot and cold are both temperature, love and hate are both passion. And this means you can transform one into the other by sliding along the scale. The fifth is rhythm. Everything flows, in and out, rise and fall, and by understanding the rhythms of life, you can ride the waves instead of being overwhelmed by them. The sixth is cause and effect. Every action has a reaction. Nothing happens by chance. And by becoming conscious of the causes you're setting in motion, you can become the master of your effects instead of the victim of circumstances. And the seventh is gender. Everything has masculine and feminine qualities, and true creation comes from the balance and integration of both. When you understand these principles, when you really get them, not just intellectually but experientially, you realize that the Matrix is literally just a collective agreement about what reality is. And the moment you withdraw your agreement, the moment you stop consenting to the program, you step out of it, you become free. And this is happening more and more. People are withdrawing their consent. They're saying no to the mandates, the restrictions, the fear campaigns. They're saying no to the job that's killing their soul. They're saying no to relationships that drain them. They're saying no to beliefs that limit them. And they're saying yes to themselves, to their truth, to their freedom, to their divinity. Now, I want to address something that might be coming up for you as you're listening to this. You might be feeling resistant. You might be thinking this is too far out, too crazy, too conspiratorial. And if you're feeling that, good. That means the programming is being challenged. That means something is shifting. The Matrix has defense mechanisms. It's designed to reject anything that threatens its existence, and it uses your own mind to do it. It plants doubt, fear, ridicule, judgment. It makes you think that questioning the mainstream narrative means you're crazy, paranoid, deluded. But here's the thing. Every single person who has ever woken up, who has ever achieved enlightenment, who has ever broken free from consensus reality, was called crazy at some point, was ridiculed, persecuted, even killed for speaking truth. So if you're feeling uncomfortable right now, if you're feeling triggered, that's actually a sign that you're on the right track, that something real is happening. The journey out of the Matrix is not easy. I'm not going to lie to you. It's probably the most challenging thing you'll ever do, because it requires you to let go of everything you thought you knew, everything you thought was real, everything you built your identity on. It's a complete death and rebirth, a total transformation, and there will be moments when you want to go back, when you want to plug yourself back in, because knowing the truth, seeing the illusion, it can be lonely, it can be painful, it can make you feel like an alien in your own world. But I promise you, On the other side of that death is a freedom, a joy, a love, a peace that is so profound, so transcendent, that you would never, ever trade it for the comfort of unconsciousness. And here's the beautiful thing. You don't have to do it alone. There are millions of us now, all over the world, waking up, remembering, supporting each other, creating new systems, new ways of living, new models of society based on freedom, on sovereignty, on unity consciousness instead of separation and control. We're building the new earth right now, in the midst of the old one, and every person who wakes up, who does the work, who raises their frequency, is contributing to the collective shift, is helping to birth a new reality for all of humanity. So here's my invitation to you. Start now. Don't wait. Don't think you need to be more ready. Don't convince yourself that you'll do it tomorrow. Because the Matrix is counting on you to procrastinate, to put it off, to forget about this after you close this video and go back to your regular programming. Start now, today, this moment. Make one choice that aligns with your freedom instead of your fear, with your truth instead of your conditioning, with your sovereignty instead of your submission. Maybe it's turning off the news and meditating instead. Maybe it's having that difficult conversation you've been avoiding. Maybe it's finally pursuing that dream you've been putting off. Maybe it's just looking in the mirror and saying, I love you, I see you, I honor you. Whatever it is, do it. Take that first step, and then take another, and watch as your reality begins to shift, as synchronicities increase, as new opportunities appear, as the universe begins to support you in your awakening. Remember, you are not a powerless victim in a random, meaningless universe. You are an infinite, eternal, divine being, temporarily experiencing limitation for the purpose of growth, evolution, and expansion. You chose to be here. You chose this life, this moment, this challenge, because your soul knew that this is exactly what you needed for your evolution. And the fact that you're here, listening to this right now, is not an accident. There are no accidents. Everything is synchronicity. Everything is orchestrated by a higher intelligence that's guiding you home. And home is not a place. It's a state of consciousness. It's the remembering of who you truly are. Beyond the body, beyond the mind, beyond the matrix. You are consciousness itself. You are love itself. You are source experiencing itself subjectively. The matrix wants you to believe you're small, separate, powerless. But the truth is you're vast, connected, and infinitely powerful. The matrix wants you to believe that death is the end. But the truth is you're eternal. You've lived 1,000 lifetimes, and you'll live 1,000 more. The Matrix wants you to believe that you need their systems, their governments, their institutions, their approval. But the truth is you need nothing outside yourself, because everything you could ever need is already within you. The Matrix wants you to believe that seeking truth is dangerous. But the truth is that only lies fear investigation. Only illusions fear light. Only prisons fear freedom. So be dangerous, be a threat to the illusion. Be someone who questions, who thinks, who feels, who knows. Be someone who refuses to go along just to get along. Who refuses to sacrifice truth for comfort. Who refuses to dim their light to make others feel comfortable in their darkness. Be someone who dares to live authentically, to speak truthfully, to love unconditionally, to exist unapologetically, because that's how we dismantle the Matrix, not through violence or force, but through consciousness, through awareness, through vibration, through being so powerfully aligned with our truth that the illusion simply cannot sustain itself in our presence. And if you're wondering whether this is all real, whether the Matrix is truly something to escape from, or just another belief system to get trapped in, ask yourself this. Does believing you're a limited, powerless, temporary being serve you? Does it make you feel expanded or contracted? Does it open possibilities or close them? Does it generate fear or love? And compare that to believing you're an infinite, powerful, eternal being. Which belief creates more freedom, more joy, more peace, more love? Which belief empowers you and which one disempowers you? The truth is, reality is more fluid, more malleable, more responsive to consciousness than the Matrix wants you to know. And the beliefs you hold literally shape the reality you experience. So why not choose beliefs that liberate you rather than imprison you? This is your birthright, this freedom, this sovereignty, this divine remembrance. It was never taken from you. You could never lose it, because it's the very essence of what you are. It can only be forgotten, obscured, covered over with layers of programming and conditioning, but it's always there, waiting for you to remember, waiting for you to come home to yourself. And the beautiful thing is, the moment you start to wake up, the moment you start to remember, the universe celebrates it, rejoices, it conspires to support you, because you're finally fulfilling your soul's deepest longing. You're finally becoming what you came here to be. You're finally expressing the truth of who you are. So my friend, wherever you are in the world, whatever time it is for you right now, whatever circumstances you're facing, know this. You are not alone. You are not crazy. You are not wrong for questioning, for seeking, for wanting more. You are a warrior of consciousness. You are a pioneer of the new paradigm. You are a way shower for humanity. And your awakening matters. It matters more than you can possibly imagine, because every individual awakening contributes to the collective. Awakening. Every person who breaks free from the Matrix makes it easier for the next person. Every light that turns on makes the darkness a little less dark. Thank you for being here. Thank you for having the courage to watch this video, to consider these ideas, to question the reality you've been handed. Thank you for being you, for being willing to go on this journey, for being brave enough to peek behind the curtain and see what's really there. Keep going, keep waking up, keep rising, keep remembering, because the world needs you awake, conscious, and free. If this video resonated with you, if something shifted inside you while watching, do me a favor. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and drop a comment below telling me what time it was and where you were watching from when you found this video. Because I guarantee it was exactly when you needed to hear it. Share this with someone who's ready to wake up, who's been asking the questions, who's been feeling like something is off. And remember, the journey out of the Matrix starts with a single step, and you just took it. I'll see you in the next one. Stay sovereign, stay awake, stay free.